Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I am back with you for Saturday, the 18th of October, which is going to be Champions Day at Ascot. It's not the official end of the season, of course, because we'll be racing through until the November handicap meeting at Doncaster on turf. But really, these days, this kind of brings down the curtain on the best of the British racing. And we do have a terrific card on Saturday. Unusually for this time of year, it's being run on good ground, which means that a lot of the horses that would normally have been put away now until next season, because they wouldn't have gone on soft ground, are still there to take their chance. So some very interesting competition is sure to take place. If you happen to be new to the service, do press the subscribe button just below this screen. You'll get all my selections absolutely free. And the intention and the idea is to try and find horses at decent each way prices with a view to trying to make a profit over the course of the seasons, which we have done on more occasions than most over the last 5 years, including, as many regular followers know, some very big winners in the not too distant past. Now, I've got two selections for you. From the Champions card. If you're interested in four selections plus one elsewhere on Saturday to add into your multiple bets or whatever, then at my Out in Front subscription service on the Patreon platform, you can find a link to sign up and join me there in the box just below this screen. Remember that we're moving into the really great jumps racing season, getting full steam ahead next week with Cheltenham, and there's lots of other great racing to come. So why not sign up, and you'll be getting tips through the week and at the weekends and at all the major festivals in plenty. So to my first selection on Saturday, free for you, Ascot 205, the Group 1 Quipco British Champion Sprint. Good ground, 20 runners. And in a season where there's been no outstanding sprinter, really, the luck of the draw and luck in running, I think, are once again going to play no small part in the outcome of this race. There are many horses, and I mean many, in this race, including those priced up as rank outsiders, who are quite capable of winning or going close in this hugely valuable contest if the things drop their way, often the way in sprints. Now, Lazat, trained by Jérôme Renier in France, is the early 4-1 favourite. He's returning to the scene of his memorable course and distance Group 1 Jubilee Stakes triumph at the Royal Meeting in June. He's been beaten, though, on both runs since, most recently only fifth when even money for the Haydock Sprint Cup last month. And while he's still officially the best horse in the race by £3, I'm not going to be rushing to back him despite his obvious liking for this place. He might go well, but um, I'm not so sure. Big Mojo for Mick Appleby is a popular public horse. He's one of these horses that has caught the imagination, and he gained due reward for some fine efforts this term when he powered home to land the Haydock Sprint Cup Group 1 in fine style last month. He had won over this course and distance earlier in the campaign in the Group 3 Commonwealth Cup trial, and he went on as well, amongst other efforts, this season finishing second in the Group 1 July Cup at HQ Midsummer. He's got very strong claims as Big Mojo if he's still on top of his game after what has been a long and hard season. You only know when you run them, really, at this stage of the year. Now, Montasib for William Haggis was fifth in the race 12 months ago on soft ground, and he had been off the track since then, prior to a very promising return when third over an inadequate 5 furlongs at Newbury last month. Now, he finished well that day, and he'll be much straighter for that, so he rates one for the shortlist under Kieran Fallon, and unlike most of his rivals, he's arriving really at this as a fresh horse. Another French contender is Rayevka for Francois-Henri Graffard. It gives the French another solid chance. This one ran well when third over the course and distance on fast ground in the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup at Royal Ascot in June. She goes on any ground, but the Longshot mud a fortnight ago in the Prix de la Baye was deemed just not worth taking a chance on. So her connections have been really patient and waited it out for a crack at this instead. I imagine that Rayevka won't be far away. And with the exception of a luckless run in the July Cup when she reared up and missed the break, so you can completely put a line through that, Flora of Bermuda for Andrew Balding has been really consistent in hot company since finishing a close third in this race 12 months ago to Kind of Blue. She was third to Lazat at the Royal Meeting in June and third in the Sprint Cup at Haydock last time. So this decent surface is ideal. And with Oisin Murphy being crowned champion on the day, some may feel the stars are aligning in her favour this time. But kind of blue for James Fanshawe looks sure to go well too in his bid to retain his crown after running a fine race last time out to be second in the Sprint Cup last month at Haydock. Art Power won this race in 2023 and has been in good form of late. But conditions probably won't be soft enough for him to show his very best form. So, to my selection. Well, um, no half measures. For Richard Hughes and Neil Callan, she's a really good filly. She seems to have been completely overlooked in the betting, having had no luck in running at Haydock last time, finishing down the field in the Sprint Cup. So you really can ignore that. You can put a line through it. I think both the Racing Post and other form analysts that day just said, ignore what happened there. She didn't run her race. She was in a pretty decent position over 2 furlongs out, and then boom, it was all over. So ignore that. Now let's go back a couple of months to her previous victory, storming victory in the July Cup, which came as a little bit of a shock. She was big odds, but there was no fluke about it. And that puts her in here in a very open race where, as I said at the start of this analysis, there is no outstanding sprinter. So it puts her in here with every chance. So if she runs anything close to her July Cup standard, then the 25 to 1 odds each way for 4 places with Boyle Sports, Paddy Power, Sky Bet and Bet365 are an insult. And I'm going to be backing her along with my big other fancy in the race that is highlighted at out in front. So no half measures, 25 to 1 each way for the champion sprint. And then to my other selection, free for you here at Sportsbet in the final race, the 440 at Ascot, the Balmoral Handicap. Good ground, 20 runners, 200 grand up for grabs on the straight mile. Quite why it's limited to 20 runners, I'm not sure. Sometimes they narrow the track a bit, but it's a shame really, isn't it? Right at the end of the season, why not have a cavalry charge to round it off a really, massive betting race? There's been some funny goings on this season as regards runners, number of runners, and races, and the way they're being framed. A lot of that needs to be looked into given all the threats that racing is facing at the moment, financially and otherwise. This, though, still is a very competitive race. A native warrior for Cole Burke has already won 2 big handicaps at Ascot of late. Both came over 7 furlongs, and he's gone up a stone for his troubles, and that includes a £6 penalty carried here. But of more concern for me is that he's never won over a mile. And this is a really stiff mile with an uphill finish, so maybe Native Warrior might be vulnerable, who knows. Similarly, Crown of Oaks for William Haggis, another to have never won at the trip, but arriving in fine form with 2 10 furlong successes and a close third last time out at the Curragh over this trip. He's now £20 higher than his win at Ayr in July. So he's going to have to have improved more than a stone and a half since then if he's going to step up and grab the lion's share of this very big prize. Now, the course and distance and the ground are absolutely fine for Shout, trained by Simon and Ed Crisford, but a £9 rise for a cosy win here 6 weeks ago is going to make life tougher. He'll need to take another step forward to score at this level. Cerulean Bay for David O'Mara is on a hat-trick after a couple of good wins, a Goodwood, and had previously gone close here in the Shergar Cup Mile, so again might not be far away. And that's a comment that also applies to fellow Yorkshire raider Arasag for Charlie Johnston, third in Group 2 and listed company on each of her last 2 starts. EBT's Guard, who has run a series of solid races this term for William Muir and Chris Grassick, is going to appreciate the return to a mile, having gone well for a long way last time in the Cambridgeshire over 9 furlongs. And Fifth Column for John and Thady Gosden, well, he's already won the Esher Cup at Sandown and the Sky Bet Mile at York this season and has gone up £16. Fifth Column was a mid-division finisher in the Cambridgeshire last time, probably with that 9 furlong stretching his stamina, so the return to a mile looks to be a sound move and he comes right into the reckoning. So too, Degree Corder for Michael Bell and Great Acclaim for Eve Johnson Horton, both are capable on their day if things drop right for them, and both are going to be equipped for the very first time with cheek pieces here. And so, to my selection, well, it's going to be the top weight. Excuse me, the top weight. Got a bit of a sniffle. Is Holloway Boy. Now, Holloway Boy is trained by Carl Burke, like the favourite, but this one's ridden by Clifford Lee, the stable jockey, and it returns from more than 6 months off, and some might suppose he's in here, possibly, to keep the weight down a touch for stable companion and favourite Native Warrior, who's going to be ridden by James Doyle, who of course rides for that one's owners, Wathnan. Now, in his own right, Holloway Boy is a smart horse, and this represents a definite drop-in class for him. He won a Group 3 last season. He's run very well in Group 2 and Group 1 company as well. So, despite an official mark of a very hefty 110, I think he's got to come into the reckoning because he also often runs well fresh. Now, you might point to the fact that he was 10th in the race last year, so why should it be any different this time? But the fact is, last year it was run in very testing ground. He doesn't like the soft. He actually ran well to be 10th. So conditions this time really are going to play to his strength, especially if it stays dry, which I think it probably will, although I'm no meteorologist. Anyway, at 22 to 1 each way for 5 places with William Hill, Holloway Boy is my sports bet selection. And he is a horse that I'm going to be backing along with one other in the race, the other one being highlighted at Out in Front. So those are my two for you, free here at Sportsbet. Remember to click on the link in the description box below this screen if you want to sign up for more selections over at Out in Front as we start to really roll away into the jump season, which I'm so looking forward to. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, I shall wish you the very best of luck, whatever you're backing, and I'll speak to you again same time next week. Bye for now.